And we're back for the final segment, man. It's been a great show so far. Week 6, it's just the season is just rolling along.
It feels like old times, man. It's been a while since we've done this show together in its entirety, just you and I, man. So I got to say, I got much love for what we do here, this labor of love that we love to do. And, you know, every other week we've done a web-only segment. We're going against that here this weekend. We're just doing the matchups here on the weekly show, but we do have something very special for everybody to watch on the web only.
Just tease it.
It's a little bit of fun that we had around Dwight Smith and the issue that he had 1 year ago, or was that 1 year ago on our team? I do believe so. And so we did a little segment, and we'd love for you to go on there and watch it, and hopefully you'll laugh and enjoy that. So make sure to check it out, Dwight Smith, Testosterone Style.
Yeah, testosteronesports.com. Back to the matchups. Dallas traveling to Arizona, a game where typically the Cardinals fans are more than willing to sell their tickets to all of the Cowboys fans who live in Arizona. And this week, the local sports talk radio station has come out and demanded of the fans, don't sell your tickets to the Cowboys fans this week. Our club is for real. We're winning games. We've got Kurt Warner. Our coach is awesome. Ken Wisenhunt changing the tone there in Arizona. So I'm expecting a good game between these two teams, Jeff. Dallas and Arizona could be a real fun game to watch.
It's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of points here. Arizona's got a lot of pride right now, and they've got their eyes locked on the division title. And I think they've got a great chance to get it, so they're going to want to perform well. I don't think that Anquan Bolden will play again here this weekend. Larry Fitzgerald, as always, makes a great play, great connection with Kurt Warner, and the running game has been surprisingly potent.
Absolutely.
Edge is running the ball well. He makes a decent play here. Hightower as well. You're not going to get the gaudy numbers out of this backfield that you got last week because Dallas has been dealing with all kinds of criticism on the defensive side of the ball. They've now lost a couple, so it's not going well for their team, and they're having to deal with a lot of questions from the media, and I think they're pissed, so they're going to come out and do very, very well.
Yeah, Dallas last week barely pulled that game off. I mean, they should have probably lost that game at home, or could have potentially lost that game at home to the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals were hanging with them into the fourth quarter. Tony Romo playing a terrible game last week. As you have mentioned before, that he is very prone to just throwing the ball around, scattering
He gets a little erratic.
Yeah, scattering it around the field. But from a fantasy perspective, I love the guy. He had a terrible game and threw 3 touchdowns. So you got to keep him going in your lineup. I think Terrell Owens, who traditionally gets up after a couple down weeks, last week only 2 or 3 catches again, although one was for a long touchdown. I think T.O. gets it going here in a big way. I love Marion Barber. Realistically, when you look at Arizona and their team, they've been in some high-scoring shootouts. Let's not forget, Brett Favre threw 6 against this defense.
Oh, yeah.
The Cowboys are going to light the scoreboard up here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the over-under on this game should be like 85 or something like that. It could really get out of hand, which you love as a fantasy player. Hopefully you're not going against too many Cowboys here this weekend. If you are, you're going to want to be on the chat for sure to kind of help cushion the blow.
Right, exactly. So, you know, Kurt Warner's a guy you've got to be starting on a weekly basis. He's old, but he's proven that he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in NFL history. A sneaky play here is Steve Breston. If you watch the show regularly, you know we love the Breston around here, you know, because the guy's in a great offense. He's got an accurate quarterback. He's not going to have the defense rolled to his side. I think you could start him as well. There's just a lot of points in this matchup. If you've got guys here, roll them out there. I mean, shoot, you could even start Patrick Creighton here in this matchup.
One side note really quick about this situation is Marion Barber, we're watching him. You know, he struggled in last week's game, but he's been the best running back in the NFL from the gun. And it's been interesting to see because all of the top 5, Jesse, have kind of fallen back to the pack. And now the top 5 consists of guys like Marion Barber and Clint Portis and Marshawn Lynch and Frank Gore. You know, guys who were getting taken late in the first round are now stepping forward, while the guys who, like Adrian and LT, who were up at the front, have fallen back to the rest of the pack. So it's been interesting to see that. Something that you always want to keep an eye on because although we'd be called crazy for making our rankings preseason that way, we probably should think about it.
Yeah, it's potential. I mean, Marion Barber, a must-play on a weekly basis. He's going to light up Arizona here. Philly at Frisco. We touched a little bit on Philly's players throughout the show so far, but we definitely want to mention the fact that Brian Westbrook, 2 broken ribs. in last week's game. He goes from unhealthy to unhealthier. He had the ankle bit that nagged him a couple weeks back, caused him to miss a game. Now they really come into a must-win game for them. They cannot lose this game. If they win, they would stay at 3-3, which keeps them in the playoff picture. They can't lose this game to fall to 2-4 before their bye week. So I'm expecting Philly to go into Frisco and posterize the Niners personally.
Something about Brian Westbrook makes me think he's the MVP of the whole NFL. And one of the reasons is because his team relies on him and his skill set more than any other team in the NFL. Save maybe Brady. And we're seeing the grizzle that the Patriots are dealing with right now. The Eagles are dealing with similar grizzle. Once he started to get nicked, he wasn't able to be as effective as we've seen Westbrook before, and now they've gone down a few times, and they can't seem to get anything going offensively. It's affecting the passing game. McNabb hasn't been as good without that offensive funnel over on his side, and I just think things could continue to get worse. They're lucky they get to go play a horribly bad defense, so I do think Philly gets the win out here right now, but they're a team that to me is headed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, they're definitely benefiting from the fact that their bye week is coming after this game. I mean, I hope personally as a fantasy owner of Brian Westbrook, I want to see them sit him out here, because if they sit him here, it's a chance for him to literally rest for 3 weeks consecutively before returning from the bye. I think, broken ribs are the kind of thing players play through all the time in the NFL. He could play this weekend, although he is in a lot of pain. If he doesn't play, obviously you want to roll Correll Buckhalter out there. And on the Frisco side of things, their running game might struggle a little bit against Philly. Philly brings the D. Yeah,
Philadelphia is excellent on defense. They're great at stopping the run. They mix in the pass really well. I think the Niners are in for a long day. I don't like any of the fantasy plays here. Of course, you got to stick with Gore because that's the way it is for them. But as far as Philly goes, their passing game intrigues me a little bit here. Deshaun Jackson has been surprisingly consistent for a rookie. I think that continues. And I do think that L.J. Smith can have some positivity as the game goes on. But they're going to be in the hurt box without Brian Westbrook.
Ooh, ouch.
When you want Brian Westbrook in your lineup, you don't want Brian Westbrook in your lineup.
Last year's AFC Championship game has a rematch this year. The New England Patriots traveling to San Diego to play against the Chargers. These two teams, Jeff, have really had a lot of injuries and aren't the same two clubs that were in that AFC Championship game.
Oh my goodness, this is like two average squads going against each other. I mean, where has that San Diego defense been that we came to know, and love? And Matt Castle just isn't the same player that Tom Brady is, and their offense just isn't as potent. They don't run the ball that well. They were able to take it out on the Niners last week. This is a different game. I don't know. There's not nearly as many fantasy plays anymore from this matchup as there once was.
I mean, at one point in time, we'd say this matchup probably has the best wide receiver, best running back, and best tight end. I don't think you can say that at this point. Obviously, the Patriots' running game needs to be completely avoided. Everybody's getting 4 or 5 carries, and that's it. So you completely avoid that. I think you can start Randy Moss here. He got off again last week. Bill Belichick understands how important he is to their offense, and he really opens it up for them. But the question marks here for me are on San Diego's side of the ball. How will they play against a questionable secondary? There's part of me that thinks Phillip Rivers might get back on that hot streak that he was on in the early part of the season. I personally wouldn't be surprised to see San Diego win this game and win it convincingly.
Well, they are at home, and they are in a must-win situation, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that either, and I love Rivers this weekend. I think he goes crazy. One thing I am concerned about is the fact that Chris Chambers suffered an injury against the Dolphins last week, and his status is uncertain right now. So they're going to have to spread the ball out to other areas. But I do like LT to do his thing in the passing game a little bit more. And Vincent Jackson is a surprisingly good bye-week fill.
Yeah, make sure you check out the Grizzle Report at testosteronesports.com to get the latest on all of the injuries. We'll be chronicling Chris Chambers and give you the most recent updates. Check the site out after the show. The final matchup of the show, the New York Giants, the reigning Super Bowl champs, probably the team that looks most likely to go undefeated the longest this season. Only they and the Titans are still undefeated. They travel to Cleveland this week to face a Browns team that just has not been the same this season, Jeff. I think that the Giants are going to feast on the flesh of the Browns here.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of vultures doing that offensively there. They've been feasting on Braylon Edwards' hands primarily. That guy can't catch the ball to save his life, man. If he had to catch that ball for his mama to live, I don't think he'd catch that ball.
Maybe he doesn't like his mama.
I just think that they've got major issues there, and it doesn't help this week that they have to face against the league's best team. And it would have been surprising to say that 1 year ago at this time, but they are proving it week in and week out. The best team offensively throughout the course of the first part of this year, and Brandon Jacobs has been running the ball well, and they get back Plax this weekend, and I think he's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he needs to be awesome because he's causing some turmoil behind the scenes. I'm even hearing whispers that if he doesn't start to change things, he's fallen out of favor with some of his teammates in the locker room, which is a disconcerting thing because this squad needs him. Eli Manning needs him. But I think I agree wholeheartedly here. You want to go ahead and start all of your Giants in this contest. Amani Toomer's even startable here. The Browns are
Norris Moss.
Yeah, probably not. The Browns are questionable in the secondary. They do have a decent interior defensive line, so it makes me think that Jacobs might not go crazy like he did last week.
100 yards and a touchdown.
But, yep, a solid outing for him, too. And on the Browns side of things, I would go ahead and just reserve everybody. Do not start Jamal Lewis in this game.
You can play Kellen Winslow Jr. He's about the best.
He's not practicing
right now.
They've
got going on. Well, if he plays, you want to have him in.
Right. So, well, we thank you for joining us. It's been a very fast-paced, lively encounter with you.
Wait, 1 second, Jesse. We did the purple segment. Last week we did the purple segment with the horn. This week, no horn in the purple segment. You got to blow that thing and give our boys the love. Give them the
blow the horn.
Give them the horny magic. Dude.
All right, against the Lions. Lions. We'll see you next week because if you want to win,
you must tune in
to Testosterone Fantasy Sports.
Go Vikings!